The lighting's probably terrible because we're in a little house that has a tatami room and it's only got two little slits for windows.
Natural light coming in. It's really lightly snowing outside too, so the light's not particularly bright anyway. But yeah, it's a cool little house in the middle of Fukushima.
Yeah.
Called Kiora House or something.
Yeah.
It's a really cool little place. It's literally in the middle of nowhere. Anyway, we're at the back end of our Japan trip, so let's talk about the trip. We should tell everyone.
It has been an interesting one.
Tumultuous. Anyway, we should do that.
Yeah.
Somewhere to put the music. Welcome to the broadcast, Japan edition.
There you go.
Yeah, whack the music in.
All right, so we start from the beginning.
Yeah, well, from our beginning, not my beginning.
Yeah, so I flew over on, God, I can't even remember, I landed the 13th of Feb.
Yeah, it's late Feb.
Yeah.
So we're drawing to the end of our trip.
Yeah.
Which I'm cutting short by a couple of days for myself, for my own mental health, to get the hell out of here because I've been here too long. But yeah, we picked up the car, day one.
I'd just come off a night red-eye flight. You had a shit sleep, so we were extremely tired, but we got the car and we just drove out because I was using the app Snow Forecast, and when you pay for the pro version, you can actually put in a location and then say how many, and search the resorts that are within a certain distance of you that are getting the most snow in the next 3 days. So I was just doing that, and I was like, the moment I landed, I did it, and I said, hey, Al, this area, which was Hakuba, Miyoko, Shiga, and then north of it as well,
Nagata.
Yeah, Nagata, Gunma were all getting hit. So I was like, well, let's go north of
regular areas.
Yeah, and explore literally just over the mountain range.
Yeah, it's crazy here. They're like literally spitting distance from Hakuba, and I think I looked up when one time we were 40 k's from Nozawa.
Yeah, I think I did it, and it was like
over a hill.
Yeah, and it was like
3-hour drive though.
As the crow flies, it was like something like 30, 40 k's, but to drive it was like an hour and a half because you have to go around the mountain range.
Yeah, so we drove out of Tokyo in what was some weird weather conditions anyway, right? There was a big dust storm happening.
Yeah.
Which was bizarre. And
we were 20 minutes away from our hotel and it was sunny, and you were like, how the fuck are we going to be driving towards snow? It's sunny and
hot.
warm. And we literally just went, like 5 minutes later, went round a corner on a highway.
Through a tunnel.
Yeah, through a tunnel, then round a corner on a highway. And then all of a sudden, because I remember driving on the highway and I was like, there's clouds over there. And you're like, yeah, but it's clouds, Claire. And we drove into them and it just started snowing.
Yeah, that microclimate thing that happens in Japan is very real, where you get 14 degrees in Tokyo, 2 hours from Tokyo, where it feels like you've driven dead flat and it's still warm outside, and then all of a sudden it's snowing because you've actually been slowly kind of gaining a tiny bit of altitude, and it's just going from the east side to the west side of Japan. It's only a 3-hour cross-country trip, so you're going from that east coast that doesn't get a lot of snow to the west coast that gets absolutely hammered. It's been a very unique year, though, let's face it. This year, in my head, I'd spent the 2 weeks prior to Claire getting here up in Hokkaido, which had been getting absolutely hammered with snow, but I was watching what was going on down south, and I was like, wow, they're getting more snow down south than we are up here. And I was riding knee-to-waist deep snow with my family for a while, for a couple of weeks. Like, it was no bad days. I think we had one Sunday the whole time, one bluebird, the rest was snow. So we were getting tons of snow up there, but it seemed like Hakuba and Nozawa and all these areas were getting more. And it just was hard to wrap your head around that they were getting more when you were getting so much. But they were getting more. And This trip, we sort of just followed the snow. We promised ourselves we wouldn't drive away from snow.
Yeah, and like we wanted to explore like the north end of the South Island, but I was searching there and it just wasn't
It wasn't snowy.
Yeah, so I was like, why would we drive away from places that are getting like 30, 40 centimeters to go to somewhere that's getting 2?
Yeah, I was sort of hoping to go up towards Akita, Appy, Zao, like just north. And it just hasn't had any. They've had no snow in this period, where this area, Gunma, Fukushima, Nagata's had meters and meters of snow.
Well, I had a grand plan of going to this area because I saw all this snow, and there was one resort that we really wanted to ride, which was Kagura. And we'd heard someone mentioned it before to us, but I'd searched it and found it myself as well. And then someone told me about it later, and I was like, yeah, I've been looking at this resort. It looks amazing. The 5 days that we were in that area, never opened because it had too much snow.
It has a 5.5 meter base, they're reporting, when I last looked. And I actually know someone who's there now, and he said that it's all starting to crack because the weather yesterday was the first hot day. So I think there's going to be big problems over here because of the amount of snow that's fallen. And we saw some cracks yesterday at the resort we were riding.
Yeah.
It's starting to get pretty scary out there. So if you're coming over now, I don't know when this will be on the airwaves, but if you're coming over say March, I'd be very careful.
Anytime that you're coming over here, from December through, like the amount of snow that they get is so different to back home.
Yeah.
That there's so many other things that you need to be cautious of.
Anyway, so we got to, let's do it in order.
Yeah.
Let's do it in order. So we got to the Route Inn, which was our hotel in a town called Naruto. I don't know, somewhere.
Somewhere
in the Gunma area.
Yeah.
And it was just a little city hotel.
There's routines everywhere, and we've stayed in them so regularly. They're amazing. They're little hotels. They're always on the side of the highway.
They're dirt cheap, and they're always near good restaurants.
We said routine to a local guy that we were talking, and he responded and go, routine.
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 Well, okay.
And that's like, okay.
So it's not the routine, it's the routine.
Routine.
Yeah, he sped it up about 10,000.
And dropped like 50% of the letters.
It was funny. But we stayed there and we went to find a resort that we looked at that was local, and we're like, let's just go check it out before we ride tomorrow. And that was...
Oh, God, this thing.
There's some footage too.
I was like,
this
resort says it's open, looks amazing. And they took us down a wrong turn and we ended up on a closed road, and it was snowing so badly we couldn't see out. There's footage of the whole incident. I flipped over. It was howling wind.
White out.
It was horrible.
Couldn't do a U-turn. Couldn't see the snow walls. Like, you're talking 5-6 meter high walls of snow, and I couldn't see a thing. And the reverse camera on the car didn't work. And
you were like, I've just got to go into this into this gap, and then it took me I was like, okay, 3 times, and I was like, fuck this out, I'm getting out, and I walked back into the car, and I'm like, there is no gap that you're trying to get into.
Yeah, it was pretty scary, actually. I was actually really worried. It was like day 1.
Yeah, I was a bit nervous too.
Fucking hell, we're going to destroy the car, probably die, because it was so cold. And
oh my God.
The amount of snow falling was staggering. So we drove into a blizzard and never found that resort.
No,
But it was closed. We found out it was closed.
No. It was open, but I have no idea
how to get to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a mystery. Some of these things are so localized, and they don't want you there. They don't make it easy to find these places.
Or you've got to have this is the other thing too. We've been driving so many times, and the GPS has been turn here, and you're driving and there's snow wall, and you're like, they've actually lost that road.
Yeah, that road's gone till summer. It's just completely gone. The amount of snow, I've been coming here for 30 years, and I've never seen snow like this. This season down south on Honshu, in this area where we've been, I've never seen snow like this. The walls, some of the snow walls are so tall that you're basically just driving on the blue. If you're not following the blue line of your GPS, you've got no idea where you're going because everything's just white. And you can't see turnoffs, you can't see intersections, you can't see landmarks because you're sitting down in your car and you just got walls around you. It's a really, really difficult way to drive. But we definitely didn't have to search for snow. It followed us. Anywhere we were sort of following it via
this app.
weather.
You were like, can we move yet? And I was like, there is this much snow coming. Like, why would we move?
Yeah, it's crazy. And I felt like we should be moving, but it was stupid to move. We found one little resort that we're probably not going to even mention, but we had a great day out.
Yeah.
There's these places we've found, right?
So wait, we're jumping, we're fucking all over the place.
No, this was the first day.
First day. We're still at Route Inn. We found a resort. We spoke to some local people. We found it's Mintel. It's like, it's not really a town. It's a tiny little, thing. And then it was our stop before we moved to Yazua.
We would say Yazawa, I reckon. Australians would say Yazawa. The Japanese call it Yazua.
Yeah. And we put ourselves in that area for 5 days to ride Kalgura Mountain, which was shut. But Kalgura Mountain was connected to Neighbour. I don't know how to say these words.
Anyway, there was one before that we found that was great.
Yeah.
So if you're the right person and you come and talk to me, I might tell you.
Yeah. We've spoken to some other people who backcountry here, I think they're like, that resort's amazing, don't tell anyone. And we were like, there is so if you are doing what we are doing and traveling around, come in and talk to us or hit us up via social media and we will give you some insider tips, but it is not family friendly.
No, they're not.
It is not an easy, you need a car, you need to be traveling,
you need to be mobile, right?
Yeah.
You need to be able to follow what's going on.
Yeah.
So that's a pain in the ass if you've got kids or if there's a group of more than two of you. I essentially don't think if there's 4 of you, the way we've done this trip would be possible. It'd be a nightmare. You'd just be wrangling cats. You'd have to be so organised and...
I reckon you could do it.
Maybe. It's harder. The more
if
people,
you're adults,
the harder.
But if there's kids involved, forget it. Yeah. It's not possible.
No. That was a good one. That was an amazing mountain, actually.
That is a hot tip. So if you want to come in and see us or reach out via social medias or comments or DMs or whatever, and we will fill you in. But it is something that we're keeping.
Yeah, there's hundreds of these things, right?
So that it doesn't get too out of control.
The way I kind of look at it, there's hundreds of resorts over here. There's a customer of ours who's over here at the moment and he keeps sending me links and I'm going, that's not a resort I'd go to. And the ones we're finding are the resorts we would go to, right? They're the better, steeper, more access to better trees. They're not for riding solo. They're riding in a group or at least 2 of you so it's safe. And we're searching for a different thing to a lot of people. And a lot of people are happy just to come over here and get snow. We're kind of not. That's not what we're here for.
Yeah.
There's snow everywhere. You can get it anywhere. I want tree access. I want lifts that get me to trees.
Yeah, and no lift lines.
No lift lines. I don't want to see Westerners. I don't want to see massive amount of Chinese tourists. I want a unique Japanese experience. And I know that it's crazy to say that because we can't all have that. Right? If we all do that, then it's no longer that. Do you know what I mean? But
you can though. You can. I'm just going to use.
Can.
Yeah.
By doing this.
You can still fly. I'm going to use this as a really good analogy. You can fly to Bali and you can do Kuta or Canggu or Seminyak and stay in the built-up tourist areas and have a luxury villa, or you can still backpack around the country and through the jungle and have a proper experience.
It's not what I'm saying. I'm saying if we tell everyone the names of every single place we've been.
Yeah, but we're very aware that not everyone wants to do what we're doing.
No.
You've had a tough time doing what we're doing. There's certain places where you're like, here, we're staying in a beautiful house and it's gorgeous, but we're both freezing at night because there's not enough heat. That doesn't have central heating in this place.
No, the moment the fire goes out, you're fucking -3. It's a joke.
Yeah.
Anyway, started. We're jumping all over the place again.
Yeah.
So
what I was trying to say is that the way we're doing it appeals to a certain type of person, and that type of person resonates with what we're doing and wants to do what we're doing. They're not going to come in here and, you know, bring their families. And,
no.
Because you can't do it.
And to be honest, if I was solo, like the person I'm talking about is, I couldn't do this trip either. There's no way I would ride some of the things we've ridden on my own because it's just too fucking dangerous. Simple as that. If something goes wrong, your reliance on the person you're riding with is 1,000% that they're going to be able to at least help you get out of that situation.
Yeah. Or be able to like identify where you are
and get someone else.
Put a marker and then go get help.
And then get back to you.
Yeah.
Like, you can't ride with someone in these conditions that doesn't have at least your riding ability too. It's sort of tough. Like, you can put yourself in very tricky situations very easily. Like, even a dig out can go wrong. Like, everything can go wrong. I had a terrifying moment my first day when I got to Japan this year where I just had anyway, don't want to talk about it. No. It's traumatizing.
Anyway, so that was the first little thing. Then we moved along to Yuzua.
Yeah.
To ride Napier.
Well, the first place we went had 0 Westerners, right? Zero. Didn't see a person from Europe, North America, even China. It was Japanese. It was purely Japanese. They're having a demo day there. It was being done indoors, which was amazing compared to our demo days in Australia where it's wind and tents flying everywhere and all the reps chasing their shit all over the place. Yeah. This was all...
Just a side note to Threadbow and Perisher and Falls Creek, you do have indoor spaces.
Yeah. Make the demos indoors, you morons.
Yeah, especially Perisher. You've got that whole indoor section.
God forbid they'll let anyone do anything sensible. It's so nuts to not have the boards inside so you can come in, do it all in a pleasant environment, talk, get your board sorted, go back out. It makes so much sense. But anyway, yeah, let's not get into Australia. That was a pretty cool mountain. Then we moved to Yazawa. Yeah. Yazawa.
We stayed at Prince Neighbor Hotel.
At the bottom of the mountain called Neighbor.
Yeah.
Yeah, which was just booked because it was reasonably priced.
And there is a gondola that connects Neighbor and Kagura, but it was all shut because...
Kagura was closed. So yeah, we got there and the first day there was so much snow, nothing was like, we had 2 lifts, right? Was that the first day when we only had...
No, I went out riding because you were sick.
Oh, that's right, I got really sick.
Really sick.
Yeah, we should add in the fact that if you get sick in Japan, medicine's an interesting thing.
Well, I got off the plane and I was like, because you know when you get off a plane, you're all like, clogged up and shitty and feeling horrible. I got off the plane, Al met me, and I was like, I feel like shit. And I was sneezing and runny nose, and I thought I was going to get sick. And for the first 2 days, I was having a runny nose and blowing my nose, and I was like, fuck if I get sick. And then you were afraid of getting my little runny nose, and then you went fucking down.
Yeah, I spent a day in the airport the day before you got here, moving from Hokkaido to Honshu, and I can identify the moment a guy coughed in my face. He turned around, we were checking in, and he was checking in. He was at the front, we were right behind him. He didn't want to cough on the girl checking him in, so he turned around and he literally coughed in my face. And that was the same cough I got.
Yeah.
A week later, I had that identical cough. So
yeah.
I went down
for 6 days.
Yeah.
Because the day before we got to Neighbour, our travel day from place to place, that's when we got drugs, and you were loading yourself up with tonic. We got us tonics and everything healthy and stuff.
Yeah, I got really sick. It was a flu. I had fever and that muscle ache and everything. I was down. You were in
bed for a whole day when we got to that Prince Neighbour Hotel.
That's right. So you went out, but there wasn't much open.
Yeah, it wasn't a ton. It was snowing a little bit, so I just went out for the afternoon because we'd just got there. So I was like, I'll just go out and ride.
So were you feeling the bottom?
Yeah, for sure.
So the snow...
It was coming that night.
Snow, right? So we'd travelled on the gap day when we knew it wasn't snowing.
Yeah, it was snowing. It was snowing that night. It was starting.
And they called that 19 centimetres, right? They were going to say 19 centimetres that night. I've got photos of our car with 70 centimetres on it and we didn't get there until 4 o'clock or something. So that was a staggering amount of snow fell in 12 hours.
Interesting point, though, about the Prince Neighbour Hotel is the fact that we booked for 4 nights accommodation,
Right.
and we got, because we were like, it was a 5-day snowstorm, so we were like, perfect, we'll be here for 4 nights, 5 days, and we got 5-day lift pass with our thrown in with our accommodation, so we didn't pay for lift tickets.
And we were kind of like, the accommodation's sort of $100 a night, not crazy expensive, but not super cheap.
It was $150 a night, ended up being.
But it ended up being fairly affordable with the lift pass.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was cheap. It worked out really well. And that's a good place to take your family.
Yeah, it's got restaurants all throughout the building. It's got onsens, it's got bars, it's got cafes.
Yeah. I mean, it's not a modern building by any stretch. It's probably built in the 60s or something.
And hasn't been updated.
But it was a nice enough place, I thought.
Yeah.
It was all right. Like, it wasn't fabulous. I didn't hate it. The beds were comfy. They had good food. The restaurants were fine. I was sick, and it was a good place for me to be. I got to ride in stints because I couldn't fucking go for 6 hours. So I'd go ride for a couple of hours, and I could come in and get my shit together and then go back out if I wanted. It was a convenient place. You're on snow, you're riding out your front door.
But for the mountain too, it actually is a really, for the size and the number of lifts it has, which isn't many, it's quite small, but they groom only the like green runs, and then there's this middle section of like powder bowls and like black and blue runs that they don't groom.
They just don't touch them.
They don't touch at all. So when it had, by day 2 and then day 3 and 4, we were riding like proper waist deep on the trails, and it was amazing.
Yeah, it was super deep. It was some of the deepest on, like, in the middle of resort snow I've ever ridden.
Yeah, the trees we didn't figure out the trees at that.
No, the trees weren't super easy, but you didn't need them. Why are you riding trees when you got big open powder bowls with no one in them?
Yeah, exactly. So we weren't concerned about that, because there was this whole middle section where you could drop in from that side or that side, and big powder bowls, because the lifts would get you high enough. So
yeah, the mountain is a good mountain for a family for sure.
Because the whole bottom section is like green, beginner friendly.
Yeah.
So very small but versatile. Small, but
when you've got that much snow, small's fine. Doesn't matter. You don't need tons of snow, but
if there wasn't that much snow, you'd have access to Kagura, which is also on the lift pass too.
Yeah, the whole valley was on the lift pass.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was cool. Anyway, that was a really good little place to go. So if you're looking for somewhere, take your family. It's definitely got a lot of Chinese. If you're looking for
a neighbour, the Yuzawa had way more.
That's what I'm talking. Yeah. There was still plenty of Chinese at neighbour.
Yeah.
If you're looking for an explanation of Yuzawa, let's just call it Yuzawa, whatever you want to call it, that area, it is to the Chinese what Hakuba is to the Australians.
Yeah.
There's way more Chinese using that area. Obviously, the Australians are using Hakuba and Yuzawa. The Chinese are using Yuzawa, so it's got a very different feel to it. I don't particularly think it matters. I can tell you the one thing for sure, though, the Chinese are not riding the trees and they're not riding the deep snow. So if you sort of look at it from that perspective, it's better. You're not fighting every man and their dog for the deep stuff, because Australians can ride. That's a really racist thing to say. The Australian snowboarding, skiing population
the general
are getting
population.
Pretty good. Like, we're riding deep snow and we're exploring. The Chinese are very much in the early stages of deep snow, I think. So they haven't quite nailed it. But yeah, feel like you've got the place to yourself once you get into that top section of the mountain. The bottom's pretty packed with beginners, but that makes things kind of interesting at the bottom. But.
Yeah. There was a cool thing at the station too. That's the other thing with Yuzawa, is it's got a Shinkansen there. So if you don't want to get a car, or you want to Shinkansen out and then get a car, it's also very friendly travel wise.
Yeah. So neighbour was lots of deep days.
Yes, so many deep days.
Yeah, 3 days I think we had where it was sort of kind of ridiculous, to be honest. And,
Yeah.
and we didn't really have a choice. Each morning we'd get up and we'd ask them what's open, and they'd go, just this place. And it's like, oh, fuck, at least we're here then.
Yeah.
Because they just weren't dealing with the amount of snow. They were reporting stupidly low numbers. They were reporting like 30 centimeters over a 24-hour period. But we could physically go out the front and go, oh, the car's fucking gone.
Yeah.
Like gone. There was one day when we
dug it out.
We dug it out. Like,
Because
we kept digging it out because we knew if we didn't, we weren't going to be able to find it.
Well, the first day we were like, let's go to Kagura. And
We dug it out.
and then
shut.
I was like, hold on a minute, I'm just going to give them the shovel back and ask them, where do we go to actually get to Kagura? Because the gondola wasn't open. So I was like, well, let's just drive around there.
Yeah, the road.
And then they were like, oh, no, it's closed. And I was like, great, probably should have asked before we got
Well,
car out.
in hindsight, though, if we hadn't dug the car out the next day, it would have been a straight night.
Oh, my God.
So, yeah, we dug it out a few times because it was getting buried. And like, I've got photos. I'll be able to stick them in here where the tips of the windscreen wiper blades are sticking out, and that was it.
Yeah.
And it took like 40 minutes to get the car out because you didn't have to just take the snow off the car. You had to dig out a pathway to get the thing out. It was crazy. It was so deep. I've never experienced that many days of insane snow like that. So it was pretty crazy. But then we moved down the hill. We moved down the hill a little bit to another hotel called Angel Resort or something.
Yeah, more into
The main bit.
main, like, central town part of Yuzawa.
Yeah. It was kind of cool. I thought that hotel was, just another hotel. It was very fucking Japanese. It had a floor like this and shit beds, and
Yeah.
I had a sore back straight away. It was,
Oh my God. I thought that I was like, I'll be fine. I'll sleep on anything. I woke up and I was like, oh my God, my hip.
Yeah. There is a
I'm now realizing that I'm not 21 anymore, and I
I've been
in
saying,
good bed as well.
I've been saying for years that I can't sleep on these fucking floors. And
And I've been in my 20s, so I've been like,
Yeah.
you'll be fine.
yeah, I'm not.
Now I'm like 30 and I'm like, nope,
Yeah.
cannot.
Yeah, I just can't do it. If I'm riding, I need a mattress. But anyway, that place was rough. It was warm, but
Yeah.
it was bloody rough living. So
Yeah.
anyway, it was cheap. And we found a little mountain there.
That was good. So I like the way I've been picking the mountains that we're riding is really analyzing the trail maps and like where the lifts get you to, and the trees, and like deep diving what trees are okay to ride and what okay not to ride, so that we kind of have a preconceived idea before we rock up to the mountain. So I deep dived this one because we went to Gala,
Oh, that
Yuzawa.
was the day before, right?
Yeah.
That's the shit mountain. That was the
Yeah.
Gala Yazawa
And I thought we would be able to ride way more on that mountain, and we just couldn't.
trail map kind of lies.
Yeah.
It's a punter mountain. It also had so much fucking
I was like,
snow.
it's got gondolas, it's got
Yeah.
lifts, it's going to have heaps,
No.
and it was shit. So
The
we,
amount of snow they'd had there had made it so difficult just from the gondola. You had to walk over this giant mound of fucking snow, like 30-meter wide mound of snow, to go into the lifts. But the lift lines were on a 30-degree angle. Probably got photos of that, where all the skiers are having to go sideways down into the lift line, and the borders are just sliding.
no one could stand up.
Yeah, you couldn't point
It was
forward
flat.
and head into the lifts because
And everyone was a beginner, and so it was just,
it was fucked. The lift lines were death lines. People just
it was
going up
very
through.
big resorty vibe.
Yeah, it's horrible.
So I was like, let's go to the polar opposite. So I found another mountain in the same area, really close, like 6 minutes drive from where we were staying. And it was like maybe even not even 1,000 meters tall. So like short. And then it just had these 2 lifts that was going up to the top of this like little mountain, I guess. And it was just tree sections all like
Yeah, 360
60 degrees out from the top of these 2 lifts.
and none of it roped. That's all.
All free to go. So we keep forgetting the name of that. I keep
It's
forgetting.
good. Let's forget it. It started with an N in Nakata or something.
Naka.
Naka.
It's in Yuzawa.
Anyway, it's a cool mountain. it's not a mountain that you would ride for days and days, but if you get a powder day on a weekday, there's nobody there. Like
We've also learnt don't ride on a weekend.
No, forget the weekends in these areas. They're just a waste of time because we're only 2 hours by Shinkansen from Tokyo.
Yeah.
So
just fills up Friday to Sunday.
Yeah. They flood in and like the difference between, we went back there on the Saturday morning just to have a look, see what the car park looked like. And we just did a U-turn and went, let's get the fuck out of here. And it's not worth it. Like Saturdays, you're just going to stand in lift lines. But Friday, you literally got the place to yourself.
Yeah.
It was a great day. That was probably, one of the deeper days that I've probably had two or three of the deepest days of my life in this one trip.
Yeah. The trees were really fun to ride in that
it was
trip.
so good. It was steep because it had sections where you're like, oh, okay,
You almost did your shoulder falling off.
Yeah, I fell off a little cliff. But that was my own stupidity. I just presumed it wasn't going to be a cliff, and it was. It was only 10 foot. I didn't see it at all.
That day, I was struggling with the size of my board. And I wasn't riding this. I was riding the 149 HBS 60.
Yeah, I was riding a 153 Wally Fish Salomon, and it was the first time I felt like I needed a bigger board.
Yeah, I was like struggling to keep my nose up.
Yeah, I was under the snow the whole day. I didn't see my board.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a crazy good day. So that one's good. Like these are the sort of little gems you're going to find if you do what we're doing. Whereas you've got a car, you can just go find them.
Yeah, and like the thing that I'm learning doing this, and like the tip that I would give is like, don't go to the big resorts that have 5 gondolas and do that. Find the resort that's got 5 lifts and heaps of tree sections in between the lifts that are like, you can see that they funnel back down to the lift.
Yeah.
They're like this perfect little like that shape.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm like, forget the gondola lifts.
Particularly if you've just dug your car out. Like if you've dug your car out from your accommodation, the big resorts, they're not the place to go on that day. The little ones are going to get their lifts up and running quicker. Yeah. They're going to be able to move from one lift to the next. So you kind of get this segmented way that they open the mountain. So you're kind of getting fresh snow the whole day. It's a much better idea to go to the small ones.
And also when you do have big snow dumps and you're going to big, large resorts with like gondolas and big things, like, they take longer to open, but they also groom everything. So you're not, all the trails are groomed and then they make these kind of like almost snow walls so you can't easily access off the trails. So
yeah, makes it easier for you to go get freshies, that's for sure. Because you can just sneak over the walls.
Oh, yeah.
You just do it.
Yeah, but sometimes it's harder because like it's...
Yeah, well, they're a little bit more tricky, but you kind of, I don't know, you find a way.
Yeah.
Anyway, they were good.
So that was us in Yuzawa.
Yuzawa had the train station at Yuzawa is cool. It's got a sake wall.
I saw this on Instagram actually. It was some guy visited it in the middle of summer and was like, this train station has 100 different sakes to try from. And so we went there one night and you pay $5 entry fee, but you get 5 coins and each sake is a coin. There's, I think, maybe 1 or 2 that are 2 coins because they're really popular. But yeah, there's some footage of me trying sakes, which we can put in here.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I wasn't drinking because I was still recovering from illness. And then we went to...
And you were driving too. Yeah, you can't drive.
Yeah, that's another thing a lot of people don't realize. In Japan, if you have a drink and are involved in an accident, you're going to jail.
Like, that's not a joke.
Yeah.
Like, when they say, when Japan has a 0 tolerance for alcohol, for drink driving, it's, you have to be 0. Like not, there's no tolerance allowed. It's like, no, it's not like back home where we have to be 0.05 or whatever it is.
And you're not getting pulled over. Like, there's no RBTs or whatever. So if you want to be that rock star loser that risks it, go for it. But I've seen accidents in Japan.
You've spoken to someone
who fucking went to jail. Like, it's not a joke. Like, if someone T-bones you and it's not your fault, but you've had a drink, you're going to jail. So enjoy that. I'm not that guy. I don't take those risks. It's their country, their rules. If I'm driving, I'm not drinking, full stop. So
it's not that they have 0 tolerance. It's 0 alcohol limit is what they should be saying.
Yeah, they shouldn't say 0 tolerance. They just should say you can't drink. If you drive and drink, you go to jail.
Yeah.
It should be pretty much that. Anyway, I thought that place was really cool. The vibe of that train station was kind of cool.
It was sick.
Again, overrun with Chinese tourists, but they don't, I mean, that's not really a big issue other than that they're there taking up space. They're not annoying me. I don't, I don't know, they're very similar to the Australians. They're quite loud and, they get in the way. So they're not a lot different to us when it comes to being in Japan. So we got no right.
It just makes it busier. That's all.
Yeah, it's annoying that they're
but we're there too, making it busier as well. So
exactly. So shut up and get on with it.
Yeah.
And then we went to Nagata for 2 nights and I got fucking food poisoning.
So yeah, ours had a bit of a shock.
That's why I said at the very start of this, I'm actually going home early. I'm broken. Like I've been here for a few weeks and I've never felt like this. I'm actually physically exhausted beyond.
Yeah, he had 5 days of like proper cold.
Yeah.
Like flu,
like a flu. Not just
virus,
a man flu, a virus of some sort that knocked the shit out of me.
Hot and cold flushes, body aches, the whole bit.
And I was riding
coughing. Well, there was one day you were bedridden, and then the next days you were riding through it. But you were drugging up as well. Like you were having, we went to so many drugstores to try and keep you vertical.
Yeah, it was not good.
And then you had one day where you felt good after we left Yuzawa.
That day on that little mountain, I felt really good.
Good, yeah. We had that day riding, and then the next day we checked out the car park at that place again, and we were like, nope, let's just get the road straight away and get to Nagata.
Went to Nagata, yeah.
And we checked into Nagata. We had a great day in Nagata. We went out for dinner. You were like, dinner is amazing. And and the only thing different that we had was on the top of the fried rice, there was one little prawn. Yeah. And Al goes, do you mind if I have this? And I said, no, go for it. It's all good.
I wish you'd said, no, I want it. Yeah, that prawn, that had to be it, right? We ate the same food all day.
All day we went out to sushi for lunch. We were even
splitting sushi.
Yeah, we were getting sushi train, and then we'd get 2 prawns and we'd split it. We'd get 2 tuna and we'd split it. So we literally ate identical food the entire day.
Apart from that
one prawn.
Man. So yeah, 6 hours after that prawn,
I got up in the morning to have an onsen at 6 a.m.
I got up to throw up. I'd already had a rough night. I'd just been in and out of the bathroom, kind of feeling like I was going to throw up like that. And then 6 a.m. roughly, I just emptied my body. It was bad.
He sent me a message when I got out of the onsen, and I was like, okay.
Yeah, it was fucked and I couldn't
Back to the drugstore.
Drugs weren't going to help. I knew it was food poisoning too. That was a very distinct
feeling. Yeah, your body's just get this fucking out.
Yeah. And it was
I just bought you Hydrolite, anything, water, Panadol, anything, and then a little thing that hopefully you could stomach later on.
I literally couldn't absorb anything.
You didn't eat for 2 days.
No,
even the day after, then when you came good, you didn't eat.
I'm still not eating properly.
Yeah.
I'm struggling to eat, so I really need to get the fuck out of this country. I love Japan. I'll be back, I promise, but
your body's just been through
a lot of stress involved with shit at home, and then just run down from
what's on the back of
from riding. I just tax stuff. Run down from riding and pushing my body pretty hard through sicknesses. So I need to go home. I'm cutting my trip 4 days short or something.
Yeah, but all right. So after Nagata, you had food poisoning. You came good, and then we
I didn't come good. I still haven't come good.
Well, anyway, we always decided let's get out of this area and travel a bit because we were so just in a little area that we were let's actually explore.
The snow's been good. Let's face it, you'd be insane to have driven away from it. But we came up to Fukushima.
Yeah, just to explore a little bit.
I've never been here and I just wanted to check it out and I actually love it.
Yeah, I really like this area too.
I think it's super
up in the middle of the island in Fukushima, and we're just riding a few different resorts around here, and then we'll have a travel day tomorrow back to Tokyo. Yeah. And then you get on a flight the day after.
Yeah. We're in a little national park. It's beautiful. This house is beautiful. It's just too cold, but if I came back here, I'd buy 3 electric heaters on the way in and I'd just burn their electricity for 2 days because it's so cold. But it's a cool area. The resort we rode yesterday is probably one of my favourite mountains. I love it.
Yeah. Yes, it was fun.
Yeah.
And also the most sketchiest and longest pizza box lift. Like,
Yeah, you reckon
here's
that
the
thing in
mountain.
Mexico's bad.
And like, it's so crazy because you start at the bottom and you're like, oh, okay, cool. We get on a chairlift with a full globe and a safety bar. And then the next lift up, you're like, okay, it's just a 2-person lift, no safety bar. And then the next lift up to the very peak is a pizza box, no lift, no safety bar, no nothing. And you're like,
and it's long.
this feels like you should reverse everything and maybe have the safest lift at the top.
The little pizza box lift went for 10, 12 minutes, maybe.
Yeah, like
you're on it forever. I was on it long enough yesterday. I was fixing the toggle on my gloves and I was on my phone. Like, it was so ridiculously long.
It was one of the longest pizza box
Kind of
lifts.
goes up, down,
Everything,
up,
and then up to the peak.
Yeah,
like
to the
very peak on a pizza box lift. It's the sketchiest thing.
Yeah.
So in a shitty weather condition,
I'd be fucking nervous on that thing if it was blowing.
Yesterday it was a beautiful sunny day, and we were riding in the trees,
Freshies,
and getting deep snow because no one had gone in them.
It's staggering. It is staggering when you get out of the main areas how little tree riding gets done. And it's not frowned upon. No one's looking at you. No one's chasing you out of there. You've just got to know where you're going, right? We just had to figure out where to link back.
Yeah, and you just start with side country and also this mountain that we were riding, all the lifts were going through the tree sections.
Yeah,
so you're getting like beautiful views of like, hi, how do we get into this section? You go up behind and you're like, oh, we cut in there.
That's how you do it. Yeah, you just sort of got to know where the switchbacks are so that you don't go too low.
Yeah, and just find markers like, okay, this lift pole.
Yeah. Well, once you get to that point, you know that you have to meet the cat track or you're not going to be able to get out. And it's pretty simple.
Yeah.
Because beautiful sunny day to do that.
Yeah, that's what you need. Like, you kind of need a recce day where it's beautiful, sunny, so you can figure out the mountain.
Yeah.
But
again, not a single piece of English at that resort. So families, nightmare. Just forget it. Like, I don't think you'd have a good time.
We had
struggle.
It actually took me back to like my first time in Japan ordering lunch at that restaurant, because you walk up and we were trying to talk to them and they were like, no, sorry. And then they're trying to give us tickets and tell us to go down there, and they're all speaking fluent Japanese, no English. And we're kind of like, everyone's just miming to each other.
Yeah.
And then we figured out that we had to go down to the other end, get a ticket, pay, and then we walked back to the other guys to give them the ticket, and they were like, no, just go wait. He was like 5, 10, and we were like, oh, we've got to wait, and he's like, yes, and then so we went and sat back down, and we just sat there, and then they brought it over to us.
Yeah, which was weird, which they wouldn't be doing that for anyone else, because they just didn't know how to yell out the numbers in English.
Yeah.
So they're like, if we yell out Japanese numbers, they're not going to know. If we yell out English,
so they brought it over to us, which was lovely.
So yeah, lovely little girl came over and we got table service out of Spiels for fucking $10. It was crazy, but yeah, it's been cool. I like Fukushima, and I'd highly recommend it for anyone who's doing this sort of trip.
Yeah, there's still more exploring to do. There's a few good mountains around here.
Oh, 100%. This place is got some real potential for single, like, traveling groups, like not families, but super Japanese. It's got a cool vibe, and no Chinese, no Westerners. It's super cool. Loved it. I'm glad I got here. So yeah, that's us tapping out. Do you have any highlights? Like, I've seen some things that I've never seen. Like, I've never seen 4-meter snow walls consistently like I have on this trip.
I haven't seen highway turnoffs, like full roads that you're meant to exit off a highway gone.
Yeah.
Because it was behind a 10-meter wall.
Yeah, I don't think Honshu's had snow on this scale for a long time. Like, I do remember being in Hokuba in maybe 2008 or 2004. Fuck, I don't know, like 20 years ago, thinking this place is so hard to navigate because I couldn't get a landmark because I'm in tunnels the whole time.
Yeah.
This whole trip's kind of been like that. The whole region of Nozawa, Gunma, Nagata, fucking right down to Hokuba, Nagano, it's all just completely snowed in, and they've had a staggeringly good season. And it's been good up north. I think, I was in Otaru for a couple of weeks, and it's had a really, really good season too. Nisiko's had a great season. By the way, if Otaru's on your map of places that are undiscovered, like it was last time we were here a few years ago, it's discovered. The Europeans...
Get in before it blows out.
Oh, it's blown out. The Europeans and Americans are there. It's very strange what's going on over here. It's like the countries being marketed overseas to different countries for different areas. So if you move around a lot, you can kind of identify where everyone's going.
Yeah.
Otaru and Hokkaido have been just swamped by Americans and Europeans.
Yuzawa is definitely
Chinese. Hakuba's obviously Australian. Rizutsu's Australian. Nisiko's owned by Australia. It's badly Australian. But yeah, it's really, really obvious that certain areas are being swamped by certain Westerners and Easterners in the Chinese's case. But it's still got plenty of places if you want to make the effort. So make the effort. And if you want to chat about it, come and see us. We'll give you a few tips. Like, we're never going to give away everything because we don't want to spoil areas by any stretch. But
yeah, we don't want to be
it's
like...
also not ours to not spoil. So
yes, and we're also not in the game of, making a 10-second clip for YouTube, for Instagram and TikTok views. Like, we're not going to just blow up and ruin places.
No, we're not vloggers. I think what's going on with Instagram...
I tried to vlog. We're fucking not vloggers.
We're shit at it.
Sorry.
The way these Instagram guys are doing what they're doing, they're just doing it to make money. They're not helping. They think they do it in the guise of, we're going to bring tourism to an area or help the local communities. Bullshit. They're selling merch or they're making money or whatever they're doing. It's profitable for them to do it. There's no benefit to the local areas if they blow them up for 1 minute, because the lost focus of Instagram's very quick, and TikTok. Like, a restaurant will blow up for a month and then everyone forgets about it and moves on to the next one. And that's not what we're trying to do at all. We're trying to explore the country, find great places for people to ride that don't want to go and exploit it and ruin it.
Well, yeah, that still wants that, to come to Japan, get powder, ride trees, go to a place that doesn't have lift lines, and still have that Japanese experience where you're having that funny interaction, where you're having to mime out things.
And do it respectfully.
Yeah.
Like, enjoy the culture for what it is. It's not yours to tell them how to behave. So just fucking show some respect. And that's what I get upset with when I don't see that. But whether it's Australians or Chinese or Americans, I want to see people respecting the Japanese culture.
Yeah.
So come over here, have an amazing time. To be honest, I don't know if this will hit the internet or whatever in the next week, but if it does, there is a staggering amount of spring snow to melt off. So if you wanted to come over here for a late March trip...
Well, I just looked at the weather because I'm about to head to Hakuba and it's snowing again.
Yeah, like,
there's another snowstorm coming.
I don't know when they're going to close their lifts this year, but it'll run to the death, and there's going to be some epic sort of days of slushy spring-style riding to come.
Yeah, but there's still storms.
There's still tons of snow. It's snowing outside right now.
Yeah, but there's still storms hitting, so March is not always spring.
No, March could be epic, so get over here.
Sweet.
See you next week,
Bye.
probably. Or no, maybe not. 2 weeks, 3 weeks, whenever she gets back to Australia.
Bye.
Peace.